Hi guys, welcome back to Beyond the Skills podcast, where we talk everything business, entrepreneurship, real estate investing, marriage, you name it, to help you skill up your entrepreneur and real estate game. I've got a special guest for you guys today, and without, fanboying him too much, let's just say he's a pretty big deal where he comes from in this area. We're actually right now at the Allies Mastermind in Gulf Shores, Alabama, and the guest we have today has built some of the most beautiful developments in Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. If you've been to Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, you've seen his name. The name is prominent in the area. They're the biggest developers in this area, and that's the Brett Robinson team and developers. And we got Mr. John Brett, who has given us, his time today to let me interview him, on the backstory of the Brett Robinson name. They've done over $1.5 billion with a B, billion dollars in development. All the bigger developments that you see up and down Orange Beach, Gulf Shores. A lot of you guys that follow me, that watch this, probably have been vacation down here somewhere in Orange Beach, in Gulf Shores. I've been coming here, me and my wife have been coming here since we were 4 or 5 years old. Grew up over here. I think a lot of people that are from the South come to this area and they know the name. John, I really appreciate you coming, man.
Thank you,
It's an
Chris.
honor for you to come and just stop in and grace us with your presence and, give us some value and, tell us your story, because I think at the end of the day, all of us real estate investors here are trying to get to a point where, we have a lot of success, and we want to know like your backstory. I'm curious to see, how did y'all build this massive empire? Let's go back 40 years. Who is John Brett and the Brett family?
In 1970, my uncle Gene Brett and Tommy Robinson formed Brett Robinson. So the Brett brothers, my father and Gene, sold and listed real estate, just like most real estate companies start out over in the Mobile County area, right? Tommy Robinson was a home builder and also owned a building and hardware supply business. So he would get his lumber material real cheap, and knew how to build houses. And certainly my father and my uncle knew how to sell them. So they worked really well together and formed a company. Sometime before Hurricane Frederick, if anybody remembers that was 1978, I think it was, down here.
Yeah, I don't think most of us were born, huh?
Yeah, I'm telling my age, right. Gulf Shores and Orange Beach was a pig trail. You had shrimp and boats and all that, but there was hardly nothing here, anything here. And in Gulf Shores, there was a few little things. Hurricane Frederick came in and blew down a lot of the homes. Some of the people said, the devastation is just so great. We're not going to go through rebuilding. This is devastating. And it was a bad storm, right? Went right up Mobile Bay. So anyway, an opportunity came about for Brett Robinson to acquire some property and develop a condominium. It's still there today. It's called Island Winds East.
That was the first development.
That was our first development in condominiums. We had been, one of the larger home builders in the Mobile County area. I think Mr. Robinson was president of the Home Builders Association quite a few different times. And, we were considered a good builder there in Mobile County, but we decided to go off and try our hand at just being a developer. Right? Not the general contractor, just being the developer. Because we had the real estate crew to sell it already. And so that was our first condo complex. And it worked well. It was 1983 when it opened. I graduated from high school. I remember that year. And then there was Phoenix One condominiums further down the road in Orange Beach. That opened up in 1985. And in 1986 and 1987, we started pre-selling Phoenix 2, successfully sold it. So we're like, hey, we're getting pretty good at this. And we would hire a general contracting company, right? And we worked well together. We were getting ready to build Phoenix 3 in the late 1980s. And savings and loan crisis, I'm really showing my age here. We were promised, had a good faith estimate from Bank One out of Columbus, Ohio, to fund the money for project-based financing. They pulled the plug. We had already invested our money with some of our investors up front. We call them land investors. We'd give them a discounted price. They would invest with us in the land, and they had first choice, first dibs on the condo units, the locations, right? So that fell through. And we had to come up with an alternative way to finish that project. We were advised to go bankrupt. In the housing industry especially, loans were made, and I don't know if I'm right about this, because I was just out of high school, right? I was in college when it happened, but there was a crash. There were too many loans made, bad loans. It's kind of eerily similar to what brought about the last recession,
2008.
right? when someone can go borrow money with undocumented, they don't even have to show proof of funds, right? You know that that's not good. With stated income loans and lots of people available to provide the money to them. It's crazy. So anyway, I believe it was more to do with that, but it was a crash nonetheless. We sold our way out of that, but my father, my Uncle Gene, and Tommy would not. They just said, we have too much other business. We want to be honorable people. There's no way we can work our property management side of our business and rental management. I mean, some of these people that had invested money with us, we were renting their condos right next door and managing them. So can you imagine us trying to renew a 1-year rental? Would you rent with someone that just took your money? Even if it's legal? No, and so we wanted to save the reputation to do the right thing. So at their personal wealth and expense, we figured out a way to sell them for cash, and it worked. And we were able to get RTC, Reservation Trust, to back off on and they gave us 8 months to bring the money that was owed, and we more than took care of that. But when we finished it, the people were so happy that we didn't take their money and run, and they saw us suffer. They saw my father and my uncle and Tommy driving the same vehicles. They were like 9 years old before they finally got new cars. They drove these cars, wore them out. I mean, it just took everything we had.
What year was this?
We finished the building in 1993. So the construction loan was lined up in 88. So think about it.
Wow.
It took that long, right? Once someone goes through that experience with you and you deliver your promise, no matter how hard it is for you. After that, if they would hear that we were going to build another building, they would literally chase us around with checks and go, here, I want that top floor west side here. I'll write you the check. We're like, hey, we don't even have an account set up. We have to get documents and everything.
Because they trusted you.
They trusted us. They were in the trenches with us, and we didn't bolt. We didn't take the money and run or hide behind an LLC bell. And so when people ask the question, why is it that Brett Robinson is really the only developer on the beach from Orange Beach to Gulf Shores that we've seen since the last recession? Let's use that as a timeline. There's not been any other developers of condominiums along the beach in Gulf Shores, Orange Beach. I think, Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong, Portico was one. That was over in Perdido Key, though, right? Yep. In Florida. And I think the reason why is because of the cash following. We don't have to borrow the money from the bank. We're not only the developer, we have our own real estate company, which Brandon and I are realtors, but he and his crew, and Tim Brett, my cousin, they run that. We're a general contracting company, right? So we have our own company. We sub out the big stuff, the concrete pouring and the steel and the fabrication and all that. But we are the general.
So y'all are vertically integrated, big time.
Vertically integrated, correct. But the key ingredient there is we don't have to borrow the money from the bank. Now, we have a Centennial Bank, which
all cash deals when y'all develop?
All cash deals. If the cash dries up because there's a recession or something, we have a plan B, Centennial Bank. We have a line of credit that we can tap into. We certainly don't want to do that because there goes your profit, right? But twice in the past, Centennial Bank saw us, knew of the story that I told, how we didn't take the money and run, and we took all of our assets and liquidated to finish the building, to keep it alive, right? You have to keep those subs paid to keep them there and keep them working. You got to pay for the concrete, right?
When y'all could have just bankrupted and said, hey.
Oh, it'd been much better.
It'd probably been easier.
Oh, my inheritance, I'd be much better off, look, in some ways, we're still paying for the second time that it happened in this last recession. We were building.
What year was that?
That was 2006 and 7 is when it kind of started. At that time, that's one of the times we had about $500 million of construction going.
Development.
We had 4 different buildings at one time. And in one of the larger developments, Phoenix West 2, which I think now is called the Oasis. The HOA changed the name of it. That was 2 million square feet under roof, contiguous. It's one of the largest structures on this part of the Gulf Coast. 358 3 and 4 bedroom condominium units. We had sold about 150 of them, and then this recession hit. We were selling them for cash. Well, that stopped, but we had to keep the construction going. So we went through that same process again, liquidated what we had, lowered the prices of our units. I know Chris will tell you guys, in real estate's not always rosy and successful. You win some, you lose some. Every time I drive by that building, I feel a sucking motion. We're still paying for it today, you know. Literally, we just closed out a loan, but we had tapped into a line of credit that we just paid off 6 weeks ago, you know. But by doing that again, you build up your integrity and the trust with your customers. And so they follow us. And it's not an exclusive club, y'all. Half of our buyers are that. The other half are people that leverage traditionally. But when they research and they see the prices that we are offering, and I forgot to mention this part, because we're the general contractor, the developer, and we have our own real estate company, and because we're selling the majority of these for cash, really all of them, we're cutting out the largest profit center, which is the interest owed to a bank, right? So we wholesale, and I don't like using those words. I've heard some of the agents say, we Walmart these things, you know. How about Sam's Club? That sounds better. You know, but we really wholesale them.
You really do, because
we do.
You sell them at a discounted price where the consumer can win.
Yes.
And I know that because we bought our first unit, the Phoenix 5, in 2012, you know.
2012.
And while we were buying that from somebody else, we got off. Brandon showed us some brand new construction. You say, hey man, these things are like, you're going to make $100,000 in equity.
Yes.
If you buy them before they even finish building. And I didn't quite understand that. And I got scared because it was my first unit, but I knew a lot of people that bought them and doubled their money. Many people doubled their money from you guys' construction.
Our banker says we're selling them too cheap, but at the time you're selling them 4 years you're peering 4 years into the future, trying to determine where the prices will be. So we give a conservative number. This condo that we're selling you for $960,000 will be worth $1.4 million. And they're like, really, you think? Well, we just opened up Phoenix Gulf Shores 2, I was telling you earlier, in July, right, Brandon? July. We pre-sold those 4-bedroom units, 2,000 square feet. Have I already said this? I don't think I have. For $960,000.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: if you weren't paying all cash, could you get away with the model that y'all have now if y'all are using bank debt? Because most people don't.
We've looked at it. We've looked at it. We can't sell them up front as cheaply. Someone has to pay the interest. You can say, well, since you're the only guys building any in the area, just add that to the cost, you know? Well, our following of cash buyers is so strong, they don't like the idea. But if we were to do it and a new condo is what they want and there's no one else doing it. I'm not bragging by saying there's no one else doing it, just stating a fact. And it's not because we're super smart. We're not masterminds. I want to be like Chris, you know, but I'm not a mastermind. It's just we went through hard times and we built up the trust. So how do you do it? You know, when someone asks that, it's not something I can go buy at the store at Target and go, if I pay $1 million for that, I can have all the buyers on. It's something you have to go through.
And back to earning it, and you built trust through making hard decisions in tough times. It seems as though when y'all reinvested all the profits, I'm assuming y'all could have went and just had a lavish lifestyle, but I mean, to better go and build all cash reserves, that started from being very probably prudent, humble, yes, living below your means for many, many years to better get to a point to pay all cash.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Well, for our customers, our market participants, the majority of them that are purchasing are real estate entrepreneurs, business owners, right? They've worked hard all their lives. You know, maybe there's a few that stepped into it or got it from mom and dad or something, but the majority of them with their wives have worked for it. You know, quite a few just in real estate transactions. One guy sold his insurance company. That's where the majority of our customers are.
Well, I think you're misunderstanding my question. Or maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying. Y'all are building your buildings all cash, but you're also selling them all cash.
Yes.
Well, my question to you is, if y'all are building the business, building these condos all cash with no bank debt leverage, you must have gotten to a point early on between your family to better get to a point to save that. To be able to pay cash for a building, what I'm telling you is y'all had to have been very prudent to better get to a point and
yes,
live below your means. I mean, to get to a point to better pay cash.
I'm sorry, Chris.
No, it's all right.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes, there is certainly my father, Gene and Tommy. Oh man, there was 5 children. I'm the 4th of 5. It was hard to get tennis shoes sometimes, when we were in the middle of some of these crises. But I watched them. We were prudent, very prudent. But the business was good enough to where they had enough to, like I said, acquire that first piece of property, right? There was some leveraging done as well.
Yeah.
Right, with it.
But there was also a lot of reinvestments.
There was a lot of reinvestment.
All that you'd complete a building, sell it, go buy more land on the beach.
Yes.
For future projects, all cash.
Reinvesting the profits is, yes, instead of living and stopping and going and living a more lavish lifestyle or whatever, reinvesting in the company. After all, our company is family oriented. There's a lot of nepotism in it, which in our case has been a great thing. We can rely on our family members.
Which is very, very rare.
Yeah.
Nepotism in a business usually destroys businesses.
It does, but it's been the opposite of that with us. There's 3 other realtors. We have 5, my sister, my son-in-law, my sister-in-law that passed away, rest her soul, and then 3 cousins, all under the real estate roof. And then my first cousin, Bill Brett, who's my partner, he's the president and runs the Brett Robinson Gulf Corporation and, the rental and property management side of the business. And then Tommy Robinson, his son-in-law, Pat Nelson, my partner, runs the construction company with Tommy. Tommy's 90 years old and Gene Brett's 89, and they still show up every day, buddy. They work. Wow. But us other 3 guys, now with our associate board, we work hard at it.
So the whole company that's vertically integrated is all family members in different branches, whether that's construction, the retail side is realtors, where Brandon's at, the development side, but it's all family members that are all plugged in that are running this whole big system?
Right now, to give you, there's 5 owners. All 5 owners are family members. But boards, associate boards, yes, we have family members, but we also have just people that have worked in the company that we've hired, that are in there as well. So you don't have to be a family member to be there, but we certainly have relied on them. Look, I was the qualifying broker running just sales. I can lean on my son-in-law or my sister a little harder than someone else in a professional way because they already understood why we do it the way we do it.
How do they understand that? This is so amazing to me and I think they would understand too, because I have 5 children and I can't get them to stop beating each other up, much less trying to give them, try to get them inside my company. That is amazing what y'all have built. Talk about the culture. How did y'all build a culture to where all the family members get along? And I guess the systems and processes and the distribution of labor where everybody gets along and there's got to be some infighting somewhere in disagreements, I'm assuming.
It's to be fair, in my department running sales, it was pretty easy for me to sit my sister down, my cousins, my son-in-law, and go, look, man, you don't get paid till you sell something.
Clear expectations.
Right. That's how you get paid now. We have some of the same setups in our property management and construction, and they're on salary. But I think it came from our parenting, from my father and mother, Tommy and Elsie Robinson, and Gene and Ruth Ann Brett. What we were taught, we were just family-oriented people, hardworking. Look, the last thing I wanted to do, even when I was in college, is sell real estate. Because I'm like, my dad works every day. He goes to open house on Sunday, man. I want some free time. I don't want to do that. Well, I get out of college, whatever, and I'm kicking around. Where do I end up? Selling real estate. I did it on my own, though. Went out and got my license. My dad kind of tested me. He said, I don't know if you have what it takes, John, to be a real estate agent. He was testing me. I came back and says, hey man, I got my license. I've already interviewed with 3 people. I can go sell for Remax right now today. He goes, oh no, come on in. I don't want you going anywhere else. And that's how I started. It's just something we learned from our parents and watching them work hard. And you're like, man, I don't want to do that. It's too much time. But in the end, here I am.
What kind of man was your dad? Was he hard on you, your brothers and sisters?
Best listeners in the world, smart man. He carried a lot of managing the finances of the company. And when we went through these recessions and all the bill collectors were calling and we were trying to pay for this and that, he's the guy who talked to them,
Spoke softly, but he carried a big stick.
It wore on him a little bit. I remember him having a shake in his hand after the second recession, developing a little tremor there, just nerves. But man, he was a tough dude.
Yeah.
In a sweet kind of way. But I think that's where we get it from. And the legacy, knowing that our families started the business, and so many of our family members depend on the business for their livelihoods.
Yeah.
You know, and community-based, we try to do things in positive, have a positive impact on the community. And, you know, as a developer, we're not suitcase developers that one lives here, one lives there, and they, you know, hire someone and then they're gone. When someone buys a Phoenix condo, you can come bang on my door 10 years after it's finished. Trust me, they do. Hey man, there's a crack in the concrete over here. We fix things that are not under warranty because we want to keep a good relationship with our owners long term. And they know if we have a hurricane, we're going to take care of our buildings first, like we did after Hurricane Ivan. We took care of all of our buildings, and they were among the first ones up and running after Hurricane Ivan, when other ones were still trying to find someone to take care, you know.
Yeah, just excellent customer service.
That's really what it's all about.
So from a developer's standpoint, we have some people in here that do smaller, minor developments. I do, you know, small developments. You guys are making money, you know, with a lot of different verticals, because a lot of what we talked about it in this mastermind thus far, which we're going to talk more, is about vertical integration. Especially in the economy right now, you can't just depend on one thing. I'm assuming if you just depended on condo sales and you didn't have property management, you were making money on HOA, you had all your costs dialed in because you're doing in-house GCing. That's real important to make it through the highs and lows of a recession, because you have all your costs so low, and then you're selling below market value at wholesale prices, to where really people just can't compete with y'all. It's really an unfair advantage. I like to talk about how I can cheat legally, morally, and ethically in business. Right. You have all the odds stacked up in your favor that you have created essentially an empire that can't be shaken because of all these things that people just can't compete with.
There's certainly truth to that. One point, you know, well, Phoenix Key, for example, you know, $2.5 million for 3,000 square feet, but it's a higher end, and it's still Alabama. Great values. You could go do that in Destin or on 30A over there. You're paying a lot more.
Yeah.
You know,
in the returns, and I don't know what the returns are now, but I remember looking back when I bought the first one with Brandon. If you paid all cash back in, I think it's 2014 we bought our first one. Yeah. The Phoenix spot.
It was Phoenix Gulf Shores is what we were developing at that point. You could buy a 3-bedroom unit for $495,000, 4-bedroom unit for $625,000.
And get what, 50, 60,000 in rents. It was if you paid.
Estimated
it was a 20% return. It was like a 20% cash on cash return if you paid cash for it. I don't know what the returns are now with inflation and all that. I mean, what does the returns look like now if somebody wanted to buy cash? It's probably not 20% no more, but it's probably 12, 15.
I mean, just with cash on cash like that, it's probably about 12, 15. But you know, since that building, we've done Orange Beach 2, Gulf Towers 1 and 2, and Gulf Shores 2, and every one of those people that bought with us day one doubled their money from the appreciation. Doubled it.
Yeah, we doubled. Yeah, our Phoenix 5, we doubled our money. I mean, when we bought our house down the road from you, we bought it 3 months before, or right after COVID, during COVID. And I kid you not, John, we bought it, we paid $650 for it, and 6 months later it was worth $1 million.
And that's what the hurricane.
Exactly right.
Yeah, that's with the hurricane hitting it too. Now, a lot of it had to do with COVID and the lack of supply and demand.
Sure.
But you know, we have bought, you know, I think we own 3 or 4 units in Destin, and then we bought 2 over here. Everything we bought up and down the Gulf Coast has doubled in value. We've never lost any money. Where do you see Gulf Shores and Orange Beach going in the next 5 to 10 years? I mean, because if you look at right here, it's all brand new construction. It still has this southern beachy small town feel to it that's super unique compared to, say, Destin or, you know, Charleston, you know, which is over commercialized.
Right. The size of Orange Beach and Gulf Shores, as far as waterfront properties, limits how far you can go. You know, we're running out of spots as a developer to look at. The next thing, you know, I have HOAs calling me now. Brandon does too. Hey, we've got this island, whatever the name of the place is, wood frame complex. You know, look, y'all come buy this, just tear it down. Every one of those owners, though, they want what their condo's worth as it sits right now. And when you add it all up, we can't pay them and then pay to tear it down and sell them for enough, have enough sellable square footage, or sell them for enough per square foot to the market's not there yet. That's where it will go when the demand is there. Let's say the demand stays about like it has been right now, and we run out of property, yet people want something new.
Yeah.
Right? Then you'll see it happen. That's me. I think it's 10 years, and if anybody tells you for sure this is what's going to happen. Run as far away from them as you can because they're lying to you. No one really knows. But that's the gut feeling that I'm getting just listening and looking at what's available.
Yeah.
The next 10 years, you'll continue to see, well, the next 3 years of real estate should be good from everything we're hearing, economists and all, right? And everybody talks about economic headwinds in 2030 or so, you know. Good to be vertically prepared, go vertical with your business so you can withstand that.
And just they only made, like, there's not a whole lot of people that, you know, a lot of people jumped into apartments, storage the past 10, 15 years. And, you know, talk about the asset class as a whole, beachfront property, short-term luxury vacation, short-term vacation rentals. I love that model. A lot of people disagree with me online when they're like, oh, that's a terrible asset. But man, everything I've bought is done extremely well, especially in this area. I'm sure there's spots you just can't buy in that are just not, but this area, Gulf Shores, Orange Beach.
Perdido Key, maybe.
It's still affordable. This same house that we're doing this mastermind in Destin would be probably on the beach, a $15 million house.
Yeah, that's that. You ask where it's going, it will track behind Destin, but that's, it's like this. They're on two different planes, but they're doing the same thing.
But my point is it's still really a good deal. It's undervalued. Yeah, I was telling Patty when we were here, we're walking, like, man, I remember you used to better buy these lots for, you know, $300,000.
Yeah.
Now they're $1 million. My house in Destin across the street, I could have bought the lot in front of me on the beach for $500,000. Now they sell for $6 million 4 or 5 years ago. But I still think there's a lot of value and a lot more to go up. I don't know so much in Destin, but over here, there's still a lot more value.
We have not hit our peak for sure.
Yeah.
And you know, more and more people obviously find out about Orange Beach and Gulf Shores. Destin, I'm sure there's some people that don't know about it, but it's more well known than Orange Beach and Gulf.
Yeah.
Most people don't even believe Alabama has beachfront.
Right.
They think in soybeans and cotton fields, you know, really.
Yeah.
But we only have 32 miles of it roughly, so I think you're right about that.
Let me ask you this, from the perspective of the audience and my listeners on YouTube and the podcast, young, aspiring real estate investors, developers, they want to get into real estate. What's some of the things you could, you know, press upon the younger generation that biggest mistakes, learning lessons, and what, if you were starting over now with the knowledge that you have today, what would you do different?
Whew, I got a scroll, you guys ready? I'm just kidding. If I, using myself as an example, had I not been so interested in receiving wealth and using wealth for just a lot more luxurious lifestyle, had I invested more in actual real estate, which is what I do for a living. It's kind of crazy. And I did some. I certainly did some, but not enough. I wish I would have been more disciplined at just toeing the line, you know, and we probably have way more eggs in the basket than most, you know, of the eggs that we have. Some diversification, but most of it's real estate because it's what we know.
Yeah.
And I would just try to invest more. I had opportunities, but I wanted a boat. Yeah. Nice stuff, right? You got to treat yourself, but I wish I would have been a little more disciplined.
Do you have to buy your wife those channel purses too? Does she like those things too?
Yeah, my wife likes things too.
Yeah.
She's pretty good. She looks for the deals, you know, but I bought 10 pairs because after the 9th one, the 10th was free.
There you go.
Just being more disciplined.
Yeah, more discipline over maybe a longer period of time.
Yes, invest. Started younger, you know.
Yeah, invest more.
Biggest mistakes. You know, you've heard the old adage, if it's not broke, don't fix it. As it relates to our model that we have, listening to customers, hey, if you guys ever build anything luxurious, we're all in. And you go and you build it, and there's not as many of them in that market as you thought. What you talked about earlier, the question you asked about price points in Alabama, and it is a bargain. And once you give people a taste of the lower price point, getting a really good product at a really good price point with nice amenities, right? Doesn't have to be a 4,000 square foot 4-bedroom. It can be 2,150 square feet, 4-bedroom, 4-bath, right? I would say if I had it to do over again, I would have waited on building a more luxurious, larger building. I would have waited another year or so. It would be under construction now, but we needed to wait another year.
Yeah.
So the units, we're sold out at Phoenix Key, but it took us a little longer to sell it. Getting people, our customer base, to switch from, you know, the $1 million condo at pre-construction time that's worth $2 million now, 3 years later. But getting them to go from that to paying $2.5 million day one.
So staying in a more affordable price
point.
range is what you're saying.
We're selling F-150s and turbo diesels, not Mercedes, but you don't sell as many of them
Yeah.
here. Right.
And because a lot of the focal point of this mastermind, I do a lot of what's called land home packages, and I own a bunch of mobile home parks and dealerships, and we're right now in this economy, where the average home price in America is $430,000. Maybe not so much here, but the average, not a lot of people can afford a $400,000 or $500,000 single family home, but a lot of people can afford a brand new double wide on an acre of land for $225,000. And that model is still working. It seems as though that's kind of what you got to stay in what's affordable.
We're keeping that as part of our portfolio of what we offer for sale. We're doing the luxury stuff. It works.
Yeah.
But the timing has to be right on that.
Timing.
And we're trying to show the thing about it, our customers, Chris, that like the lower price points, they can buy whatever the heck they want to. They can buy, I had someone balk at a Phoenix Key unit, $2.7 million for this East Side corner unit. Whew, that's just too much. It's too much. Well, they ended up buying 3 4-bedroom units at Gulf Shores too. That was more money. They spent more. It's just the thought process of spending that much money on one thing, on one piece of property, right? They can afford it. It's just a mindset. So it's going to take a little while for them to, to catch on to that.
Now, are y'all y'all are flipping most of these, but what are y'all keeping for y'all's investments as buy and hold? Are y'all keeping some of these units? Like, are y'all selling like 2/3 of the building and maybe keeping a third and cash and then renting them out?
We haven't been able to do that as much since the last recession. We've been, we've taken care of debt, of course, and then we pull money out of those LLCs to us as individuals. You can do that several ways. You keep a condo as part of the
Some of the
development
family
team.
members are doing that?
Correct. We do that. Or you pull the money out and you pay taxes on it either way.
Right.
The 1031 exchange, of course, is our best friend.
Yeah.
For all of our buyers. Over half of our purchasers, a little over half, it's with 1031 exchange money.
Yeah.
You take that away, you've just lost half, at least for our model right now. We have people that finance too, but you see more and more of the financing in some of the buildings that are $1 million to 1.5, whatever. You start getting closer to 2 million, you see a lot more of the cash buyers.
Yeah. So this would be the final question. So my mastermind is called the Allies Mastermind. I fancy myself, I have no friends, only allies. My best friends are my business partners, people that I do life with, that I help them, they help me. We do a lot of business together. It seems as though inside of your family, you'll have a lot of alliances, and you'll build such a great network. What does allies mean to you? Like, if somebody's your ally?
You have allies and family members within your business, for sure. Some family members may not be your ally on a certain or particular subject or item within your business. And then you have some non-family members that are your allies. It's a mixed bag for us. So I guess what you're asking me is what does having allies mean to me?
Yeah, like my business partners are my allies. We help each other live life. We help each other make money. We support each other's family. Business partners, essentially.
Yes, it's that we've been in the trenches together mentality. There's a level of trust there that you don't even have to speak about it. It's just anticipated, it's expected, and you wouldn't dream of worrying about one of your partners. We're all trying to do the same thing. We're all rowing in the same direction with the same core values.
Core values. Yeah.
Core values is a big deal for Brett Robinson.
Same core
The
values.
same core values. We all have those, and we have a mantra, and we try to live by it.
I love it. For the listeners and followers that maybe want to look at buying a condo, where can they find? Do they reach out to Brandon, your son-in-law? They just type in Brett Robinson? How do they get a hold of you guys that want to?
Absolutely. Brandon's a great real estate agent, can give you all the information you want. You can You can reach out to us on our website, brettrobinson.com, www.brettrobinsonrealestate.com. You can call us, 1-800-221-6180. That's our 800 number. And then all of these agents, Brandon and the whole crew, they're ready and eager to show you what we have. And they'll give you the information that you asked for, and maybe a little extra if you want it, and give you all the time that you could ask for.
Or maybe they just want to come vacation down here. I think it's a hidden secret. If you haven't been to Gulf Shores or Orange Beach, Alabama, it really is a hidden gem. Like you said, everybody knows Destin, but not everybody knows Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, and it's such a great, it's a different feel and vibe.
It is.
But it's a cool vibe. It's got that southern hospitality / small town feel. You got all brand new construction. So for you guys that maybe are interested in vacation down here, go stay at one of their places, all the Phoenix Fives. The Phoenix, all the Phoenix, what is it? The Phoenix, West, 5, 6?
Just all the Phoenix condos.
How many have y'all built so far? Total buildings?
We've actually finished 25, correct, Brandon? And we have 2 under construction and 1 in the plant.
So 25 buildings. How many units inside, roughly, those 25?
That's 3,500 units. Pushing 4,000 units.
4,000 units up and down the Gulf Coast from Gulf Shores all the way to Orange Beach.
Yes, sir.
Solid concrete buildings.
Yes, ma'am. I'm glad you
I did
brought
my
that up.
research on you. That's why we want to be
Right.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
poured in place.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So book a call with Brandon at Brett Robinson. Reach out to him. Come vacation, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of Beyond the Skills podcast. Please give me a like, a follow, comment. If you don't like this, you can say that too. But otherwise, we'll see you on the next episode. Peace. All right, give it up for Mr. Brown.
Hey, thanks for walking me through.
We're not finished with you. We're not finished with you yet. If you got a couple more minutes.
Okay.
All right.
Wait, I have a question first. Sure. Okay, we bought that Phoenix 5 unit. We had 002. Apparently, it was owned by the architect of the building, and it was a gift to him.
It was owned by Tommy.
Tommy Robinson?
And that's the unit we bought.
Y'all bought it from Tommy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, instead of which back then I didn't own any of the company. It was just he and my father and my uncle. But instead of taking the money, Tommy, he took the money, he took the condo. Right? He took the condo and you bought it from him. So he got in at the original pre-construction basis price, 002. That was a
Ground floor, one bedroom.
oh man, with the big high ceilings in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I love that unit.
Yeah.
I'd call you to buy it back. You call that lady and buy it back from her.
We still have one of those at Phoenix East too. We have 002 there in that
I
building.
loved it.
Same unit. Yeah,
So-
love that.
So if you have just a few more minutes, guys, do y'all have any questions for him on, development or, just the story? Anybody have anything?
Y'all just did the coastal, correct?
That is John McGinnis that owns that's good. He
Okay.
owns the Floribama
Yeah.
and the Floribama Yacht Club and all that, and that's his development. The condo right
Condos
next
to the
door
left of
to
me,
it.
Those are beautiful.
Yeah, that's Phoenix South Point,
Yeah.
and that's about maybe a year and a half away from completion, maybe.
It went up so professionally too. I mean, one weekend we were here, and then a month later they were.
It kind of, once we get going,
That's
we
right.
get going. We have to wait for a long time
Well,
on
it's good to
beach
see the
mice and all that,
process.
Now-
There, the permits and everything being in place to get going quick, so it made it seem like it was overnight.
Now Baldwin County is the fastest growing county in all of Alabama, right?
I believe you're right. Yes, sir.
And one of the fastest in the country.
In the country.
It provides Baldwin County,
Which,
Brett Robinson alone, just our property manager, our rental company provides a little over 5% of all the lodging taxes to the state of Alabama. Baldwin County, southern Baldwin County provides a quarter. I believe it's 20, is it 20%, Brandon, or 25?
33 at one point.
Well, it fluctuates, but it's a lot. But just what we do alone, it's just the number of condos that we develop, and we still manage them, right? Most of those we still manage. So lodging tax and all that's a big deal here.
Yeah.
Big deal.
Being that these are all oceanfront, what are some of the dumbed down for us, like building standards that you guys have to build to prevent like hurricanes and beach erosion and stuff like that?
You know, here they adopted most places, the International Building Code. For example, windows have to be able to withstand 140 plus mile-an-hour winds. What a lot of people don't realize is that you have much stronger glass on the ground as far as impact resistant, and it has to be a special color for turtles, for sea turtles.
I used to own a window company, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay. Well then, and then you know, the higher you go with the wind up there, your glass has to be a little bit stronger. If you're like over so many floors, you get a certain height. We just buy all of it the same, right? What was the name of? What is the name of the? There's only like 3 or 4 companies that was producing the doors that we were using. What are some of the companies that if you were in the glass business?
Martin Anderson, there's the glass manufacturers, only like one. Cardinal glass?
That might be it. That was a problem. The molding. Sometimes the glass would be the most expensive part of it, and then sometimes it would be the molding, the aluminum. You know, that's something that people are so interested in keeping the water out. You know, I tell them there's no such thing as a waterproof, totally waterproof. That's a submarine hatch, and we don't have those. But these are great doors. And in Hurricane Sally that we had, that storm set at 105, 110 mile an hour for 6 hours. I would rather have a stronger storm move through and move out for 6 hours. And our glass performed great in these newer buildings. There were very minimal, if any, leaks. I think in Phoenix Gulf Shores, down here somebody left the door unlocked and they decided to leave instead of staying, which they should have left anyway, and they left the door cracked and it, you know, other than that, everything performed greatly. There's been a lighting code change. I wouldn't say that that's for safety. I'd say that that's to try to get adherence for the sea turtle. You see a lot of these amber lights on the new buildings. That's to protect the sea turtle.
Beach mouse.
Yeah, the beach mouse is something they're always trying to protect. But as far as strength, there's always some sort of improvement required. And minimal flood, your minimal flood elevation, which is the lowest part of your building where you have a bathroom or elevators or stairwells, it has to be a certain height. For some parts, like Gulf Shores, it might be 12 feet. You get into Orange Beach, it might be 15 feet. And then the local government wants you to put another 2 or 3 feet of freeboard. They want you to put it 3 feet above the federal requirement because they're trying to protect you from just being flooded out all the time. And they're, you know, from FEMA being abused, I guess is what they're saying. Because, you know, flood insurance is relatively cheap for these condos if you compare it to the rest of it. Flood insurance is relatively cheap.
Are y'all going to be building any more 1-bedroom units, or y'all stop doing that?
That is the $1 million question. And what it's been mostly about is sellable square footage. You know, by the time you buy the dirt, the value's based on 42 condos per acre on where Perdido Pass is in Orange Beach to the west. The Alabama beach mouse, which has a scientific name, is less endangered than from Perdido Pass to the east. That's the Florida beach mouse. Even when they're in Alabama, they're called Florida beach mouse, and they don't swim. Those are more endangered. But you can the gauge of how many condos you can put in is 42 condos per acre from the pass this way, right? And so when a landowner says, man, I've got 3 acres, 42 condos an acre, man. I can put 126 condos here, right? That's 126 one bedrooms or 126 five bedrooms. But you have to have the parking for it, so you can only go a certain height, and then your parking garage, if you have enough room to put it out front, maybe you put it in front of the building, right? But sometimes you have to put it under the building. There's incremental setbacks on the sides. There's all sorts of things that can make that vary, but it largely comes down to the density that you can put on the property, and if so, can you sell those one bedroom units for enough money? Yes. They'd have to sell for almost $1,000 a square foot. Pre-sale. But very good question. Everybody wants to know, how come you're not building any more?
That's why we buy a bunch of them.
Hang on to the ones you have.
I know.
We can't duplicate them,
I
at
know.
least now. We can't duplicate them.
So you think even at today's current inflation levels, buying right now is still a good deal in Alabama?
It has been, and it never really got terrible.
Yeah.
It slowed down.
Because it doesn't make any sense investing in 38 anymore.
No, it really doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, for the people that have purchased here or
Yeah.
that are looking here, it is a great value.
Yeah.
It really is. It's pretty beach.
It is.
pretty
It's
nice.
yeah. It is. I mean, it's beautiful here. I mean, we have a beautiful day. It's a blue green. I mean, it's definitely beautiful. Guys, I want to be respectful of Mr. John's time. Y'all have any other questions for him before? Go ahead.
You guys are, your dad and uncles started this business in a business associate. And your family, as your kids jumped into this too? And like I said, my other question, I guess, two-part question, have they, and being a successful entrepreneur, how have you, raised your children to not be like spoiled brats?
Still working on that now. Good question.
It's serious. It's like you talked about Tillis and making you, go take your real estate. He didn't let me come work for him immediately.
That's right.
He made me go get my license, go work with somebody else, make sure I liked real estate and could do it before he hired me. But it wasn't just, hey, here, come on and start working.
That's true.
That's my story.
That's what my dad did to me, so I did it to him.
I never heard that story about yours.
Now you know.
But that's a real question, right? I mean, it's, I think if they see the work ethic and how we work, and we don't lay up in the house and wait for the phone to ring, and I'm a real estate agent, I can sit in here and wait till I get, we do open houses here every day. We sit in these buildings every day, except for a major holiday or something, right? And because, if people are coming to rent and stay there, you already have a customer base. You have people that are interested in being there, and they walk down and they see somebody sitting in the sales office there, and they're like, how much does one of these cost? Everybody that's bought from us has rented from us first. Not 90% of them. And that's how they get, so if your kids, your kids see you going and doing that, just like I didn't want to sell real estate. My dad worked his tail off. I didn't want to do that, but that's what I ended up doing, because in the end, I was just like him. And I grew up watching him, and I knew how to work. And he made me on weekends every Saturday. I had to cut grass and work for the company and dig ditches when my friends were playing every Saturday from the time I was about 8 years old. That's one way. I haven't made my son do that or my daughter, but I made them do other things. My son's a welder, and my daughter married to Brandon, so we're doing okay. Thanks for that question.
Chris, you had a question?
I was just curious on what you're thinking macro. Are you guys cautious on any certain big picture things that you're kind of maybe pausing on certain developments, or just with holding, or just what are you thinking about on your big pipeline looking down years down the road?
Well, we know that the days of being able to go find a nice piece of property that is zoned correctly it's numbered. There's property that's zoned residential that may one day perhaps be allowed to be rezoned. Any developer can try to go get in front of the city and try it, but I want to tell you, Orange Beach and Gulf Shores are not about upzoning. They'll let you downzone and go from high density to low density, but in keeping with what the majority of the residents want, once someone comes down here and lives here and moves here, they finally bought their little piece of paradise. They don't want anybody else coming. It's that mentality. I'm glad y'all waited on me to get here. I got mine. Now everybody don't stay the hell away. That's the mentality of some, and they kind of have to, the city kind of pays attention to that. And so there, one day though, when either city needs money, they will rezone something. Because the tax base alone, it brings a lot of money. We have numbers on that, what it does. It's a lot of money that it brings to the city and the state, the county.
Y'all are supporting a lot of the government.
A lot of it, yeah. And they come calling during election time too.
Yeah.
I need to carry Baldwin County, and
That's all good, huh?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. The mayoral races are over with finally. So,
Anybody else before I say something? I just want to recap on, what he shared. If you look at, they've been in business 40 years, over almost $1.7 billion in development up and down here. Staying in business that long and making it through cycles, it's what helped y'all make it was a lot of vertical integration. Y'all kept y'all costs really low, and y'all did as much as y'all could in-house.
correct.
That's what I'm picking up. Correct me if wrong.
We did a whole lot. Still do.
Yeah.
A lot of.
Vertical integration
Yeah, in our
towards.
construction office, we do a lot, like where you might need 2 supervisors, and we got 1 supervisor, but he's that good, or she's that good.
Yeah, staying
You know what
lean
I
and
mean?
lean and mean.
Yes, lean and mean.
Not over leveraging,
Right.
paying a lot of cash. Y'all have done the right thing through the cycles, even though it was super tough and y'all were borderline probably wanted to quit. Y'all still did the right thing. A lot to be said about that. Where y'all built that brand from that trust, reinvested a ton of y'all profits to keep building more buildings. Clear expectations with the families, and not giving away, just no nepotism. Even though you'll have a lot of nepotism, but it's no special favors.
Correct.
But you give the opportunity for the family to work inside the company, but they got to pull their weight based off of what you're saying.
At least. If there's a tie situation between a family member and non-family member, the ball's probably going to go to the non-family member, because the family member can get over it easier. Mm-hmm. That's the way I explain it to them right out of the gate. Every one of my family members, you just got to be that way. You got to everything. You cannot have the appearance to a non-family member of showing favoritism to your son-in-law or your
which is the definition
daughter or whatever.
That's the definition of nepotism.
That is the true definition of nepotism. Yeah.
Keeping goodwill with customers, even though you didn't have to. Fixing stuff, even though it was out of warranty. Staying disciplined over a long period of time is what you said you would have done more of.
Yes, sir.
You would have invested more. Knowing what you know now, you'd have bought the whole damn beach.
Yeah. I'd be in Vegas, baby. No, I would have definitely invested more heavily in the product that I believe in. That's real estate.
If the family knew what it knows today in 2025, back in say 2020, 2000, 25 years ago, y'all would have bought everything before. You'd probably own all this down here and been, trying to get it zoned.
We would have tried.
You would have tried. So investing more. You would more affordability, not getting too luxurious.
Yeah, you've got to continue to offer. You can't just push everything luxury. You can do some luxury, but you better stick to your bread and butter.
Yeah.
Don't forget what got you here.
Yeah.
Hang on to that as long as you can.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I was trying to say earlier.
Well, and knowing where you're at in the market cycle, because that luxury stuff only works when the economy, when everybody's got money. I mean, it's
That's right.
A lot of it's timing.
It is.
And then, keeping the team together with core values and make sure everybody's on the same page.
That's what we try to do. We have to meet every week, our group, every Tuesday
Yeah.
to make it work.
Yeah. John, I really appreciate this, man. This was awesome. Did y'all like this or what? Give it up for John.
Hey, thank you.